Welcome back to Cola Cabana, or the half-finished Cola Cabana. Today is the first car boot of the year for me, so end of April, the bank holiday weekend. I've just been damn busy, so I've not been able to attend any, and the weather's been a bit crap as well. So yeah, today's my first one. Didn't go mad because I've got a crap ton of unlisted stock, so I've been very critical with my buys because there's no point buying stuff that I've already kind of got and haven't got listed. So yeah, so I'll go through what I've got, a few little bits which might be interesting, and then I will take you through almost like this is more, I guess, a guide for newbies or people who aren't that experienced at going to car boot sales sourcing for stock. So little things that almost like a 101 taster session of things to think about and things to be prepared with, so that you can get your best out of your time at the car boot. So I guess I should crack on and go through some of the bits and pieces that I've got. So first buy today is a Callaway golf club. So I don't know if that's focused. That is a Callaway Warbird Big Bertha. Golf clubs secondhand vary massively depending on the brand. Callaway is one of the premium brands. Depending on also the series of the golf club that you've got and the condition, prices can vary wildly. Callaway is definitely one to keep an eye out for. This particular one, to be honest, I don't know if I really should have picked it up because I've got so many golf clubs anyway. Do I really need another one at the minute? About 25 quid or thereabouts. They do vary. This particular one's got a graphite shaft on it, and it's a titanium head. But yeah, Callaway is definitely a brand to keep an eye out for. A little while ago I picked up a set of kids Callaway clubs, so I think it was maybe 5 or 6 clubs in a Callaway bag. So any normal kids ones of a non-branded variety wouldn't fetch a lot, but I think I sold those for 75, 80 quid or something. So yeah, keep an eye out. Callaway is definitely a brand to be aware of. One of the, if you're not, you'll often see golf clubs at car boot sales, and I haven't done a video on it for a while, the Become a Better Reseller series, because I've just been a bit crap and a bit busy. But literally the best, if you want to find out what brands are good to pick up, go into eBay, put in golf clubs, look on solds, and then go to used condition and buy it now. That way you get an accurate price of what people are actually paying and what was actually sold, and then sort them, and then you put a filter on for the price. So if it's going to sell for less than 25 quid or 20 quid, is it worth your time? No. So only look at anything that sells for £25 and above, and then just start writing down the names. And if you think, right, okay, Callaway, these seem to be in the 25 to £60 bracket, or Mizuno, these seem to be in the so-and-so bracket, keep a little list. And that way, when you go to a car boot sale, you can be prepared. And you can see a brand and think, right, I remember seeing that particular brand when I did my research, so I know that should sell for between X and Y, rather than having to get your phone out, do a little Google search or eBay search, and then all of a sudden someone else has bought it, or the buyer doesn't like the fact you're researching it. So being prepared is definitely a useful tip, but that is something I specifically do on certain items, and golf clubs is one of them. So I've got a mental note in my head before I go to a car boot sale of very specific brands to look out for when it comes to golfing gear. Again, Ping, for example, would be another good one. So that's it on the golf club for the minute, and I guess that's like a little tip for the, as I said, like the Become a Better Reseller tips and tricks is do your research. Right, next item. Oops. I picked up, to be honest, it's probably a little bundle for myself. Bundle of car magazines. There's a specific one that I like. Magazine by Evo. I particularly like it. The guy only wanted 10p each, so I bought all of them there. For me, I'm going to read them. However, certain magazines will have certain followings, and Evo, as an example, is one of them. So you're not going to make a fortune on these, but if you want something that is just always ticking over and I guess helping the algorithm for your store, for me it's probably not worth my time. But an Evo magazine on eBay is usually about £6 including delivery. So let's say you've got a bundle of them, you're selling them at £6 each, your costs of sale are going to be about 20%. So that on average your fees are going to be about 20%, so that brings you down to a £5. Your postage on one of these is going to be about it's under 500 grams, so £2.40 with Royal Mail. If you go elsewhere you might be able to get it cheaper, so straight away you're down to then £2.50 minus whatever your buy cost is. So that would mean, for example, I'd be making £2.40 a magazine. Now if I bought a massive bundle of them, if I had 20 or 30 of them at 10p each, over time that's a considerable income, but you've got a little bit of effort there because you have to list them individually. But it is literally photo of the front, photo of the back, a few little details, so it's potentially a very, very quick listing as well. So it's not something that's going to make you a ton of money, but it could bring in regular small amounts of income. So yeah, little one there. Bought something else, but this was again for myself. This is something called Plasti Dip, and this is like a rubberized paint. So for example, what I'm going to do is I'm going to for the car, I'm going to take off my car badges and spray paint them with this matte black. If I get bored of it at a later date, I can peel that paint off. I paid £4 for that on Amazon. This is about 15-16 quid. So yeah, I'll be doing a few bits on the car, so I'll probably be doing the badges black, and then the rear deck lid I might do the fins in black as well. That's not reselling related, but it was a good little buy for me. Next, 2 more items, that's it, and then I'll get on to the tips and tricks, whatever. So this one, I made a bit of I didn't make a mistake, it's a bloody great buy. Again, for me, I can make money on them as well, but they're heavy. Hold on. Oh. So that is 40 kilos of dumbbell. So that was quite interesting. Basically I had to do like a farmer's walk back to the car without hitting any cars. These are by a brand called Body Revolution, and 40 kilos worth of cast iron dumbbell from Body Revolution is, their full price is 160 quid, and they usually have them on sale for around 130. One of those sort of perpetual sales that people have. So they're a bit of a heavy lift back to the car, but this tax shed Cola Cabana, so we've got all my stock stored there. I've got family space in the middle, and I've got my exercise equipment there. So I've got a spin bike and I've got a weight bench. So I bought a second-hand commercial weight bench. I haven't got any weights, so now I've got some bloody great big weights, and I paid £15 for those. So they're cast iron, they'll last forever, so that was an absolute bargain, but they were heavy. Second hand, the postage, if I was sending out 40 kilos, it's just not worth it. But you pop these up on Facebook Marketplace, because people are always, there's always people looking to get fitter or do exercise at home, and cast iron weights, they are expensive to buy new. So second hand, 40 kilos worth, which is, you don't often get this size. You'll often get dumbbells where they're sort of up to about 12.5, maybe 15 kilos each. So they will sell, there are more of those available. To get this additional weight, so the size, so they're 20 kilos each, second hand, they do tend to go for sort of 45, 50 pounds upwards. So for me to pick them up for 15, that's great. I could sell them on, but I will be using them. So yeah, that was a really, really good little buy, just as a personal pickup. But you can make money on weights, but the hassle of posting them out, it's just not worth it. So that would really be a Facebook Marketplace sale. Last item, and it's a vintage banger. Right, I'm probably going to have to tap up my my Instagram friends, Emma Chatterton and Sarah Resells on this, because it's a bit of vintage liberty. I just saw some vintage, what I thought was cloth at first, and as I got closer, I saw a lovely little logo I like to see. And basically it was one massive cushion, and then two smaller cushion covers. Do need a bit of a clean. And then I wasn't sure if it was curtains at first. Initially that's what I thought it was, and then I realised it was a throw. I've got a great big Liberties throw as well. Again, got the Liberties label on the back there. Now there are a couple of tiny little holes, so I need to decide whether it's worth getting it repaired or just selling as is. But when I pointed out the holes, I'm trying to remember if she wanted £5 or £4 for it. So I either paid £4 or £5 for it. But the only thing that's damaged is the throw, where it's got a couple of little holes in it. So potentially I could sell them as a full set or individually. Having a look, I can't find anything that matches this exactly, which is why I need to have a little chat with Sarah and Emma, just to get a little bit of a heads up on, because they're a little bit more experienced in this, or a lot more experienced in this sort of thing than I am. So I'm just going to get a little bit of a pointer on these. But even if I just sold the cushion covers on their own, they would easily get 25-30 quid so I've made my money back without any dramas. But because I can't find anything quite like this, it could be a lot more. And they do need a clean, but you can see this is all embroidered, this is all stitched, this is some serious work has gone into this. So it makes me think that there is potentially some decent value. Anything that's had more effort, so stitching is more effort than printing, suggests to me that there should be a greater value. So it says 100% wool, oh man, dry cleaning only. So yeah, I need to consider whether it is worth me cleaning or not. But yeah, I thought that was a great little pickup for 4 or 5 quid. Can't believe I can't even remember if it was £4 or £5. So but yeah, I thought that was a tidy little set today. So as I said, because I've still got so much unlisted stock, I'm not going mental with the buying. I'm just being very restrained. I probably shouldn't have even picked up the golf club, to be fair, because yeah, I'll make money on it, but my time is valuable at the minute and it's probably not enough. I need to be picking up stuff that's gonna make me more money. But yeah, that was that. So I guess it's time to go through a couple of little tips and tricks. Right, now on to the how I prepare and what to bring and how to approach certain bits about car boot sales. So one of the things I like to be is very prepared, so that I'm not in a rush in the morning. I don't want to get up in the morning and then waste time faffing around packing a bag. Get it all packed up the night before so you don't have to worry about it. I personally like to take a backpack with me, rucksack, whatever. So I carry that, and that means I have loads of bags in the back, but as I've got my backpack on, I have 2 hands free, so I can be picking up stuff rather than having one handful holding a bag already. So I find it useful to have a backpack. Within that, I'll often carry your sort of Sainsbury's, Morrison's type bags, this sort of thing. So I'll typically have 4 or so of those, and then I'll have a couple of the bigger IKEA bags. One of the things I would suggest is don't mix and match the stuff you use for the car boot sale and the big shopping bags like that for your weekly food shop, because stuff at car boot sales is pretty filthy a lot of the time, and the last thing you want is to have you know, you don't want to be carrying about some random person's piss riddled shoes one day and then putting your bananas in there when you go and do your food shopping. So that isn't it. Keep it separate. Go and treat, if you haven't got any bags, go and buy some new ones in Sainsbury's. Treat yourself to those for your food shop, and use the old ones for the car boot sale. And literally, I put get a Sharpie marker pen and I write CB in the corner, so I know they're my car boot bags. So I can't accidentally mix them up and then end up with, you know, dirty trainers in there one day and then when tomatoes the next. So be sensible about it. You don't want to catch someone's bloody diseases. Backpack as well means that I've got room in there for anti-bac for my hands, a torch depending on how dark it is when I get there. I've also got a little UV torch, so you can use that for shining at green glass to see if it's uranium glass. What else? I have a little backup wallet in there with an extra 20-30 quid in there, so that if I do get caught short, I do have some backup cash with me. And I've usually got a pair of gloves in there as well, because sometimes in the morning it might look nice and you get out and it's freezing cold, and I've ended up having to buy I don't know if they're on 2 occasions I've been caught short and had to buy gloves at a car boot sale. One of them I got some gardening gloves basically because it was so cold and I knew I'd use them in the garden anyway, and the second time I think I bought some dead man's gloves. There were some leather gloves that looked like they were from the 1970s, but I couldn't feel my fingers, so it was a choice of dead man's gloves or my fingers falling off. So it might be sensible to have a hat and gloves in there so that should it be colder than you expect, your fingers aren't going to drop off. So that is that for the bag. Otherwise, preparation wise, it's I know some people, they go to a cash point in the morning on the way to the car boot sale. All of a sudden the cash point only gives you £20 notes. That's not very good when you're trying to haggle over stuff. You say, oh, you know, will you take 2 quid? And they go, okay, and you hand out a 20. Get yourself prepared. Have cash beforehand in a variety of denomination of notes. 20s for your bigger bits and pieces and 10s for your bigger bits and pieces. Have a load of 5s as well. And then it's also useful to have a load of coins. I tend to go into the bank every now and again and get a, I don't know, 30-40 pounds out in a combination of £1 50s, and I usually get like a pound or two's worth of 20p's, and that bulk of change is useful because it sometimes you can give someone a fiver and wait for the change, but sometimes you just want to give the 2 quid over and you want to move on, because every time you're sat there waiting for change, that's an opportunity cost. That's an extra couple of minutes or seconds or whatever it is that you're not looking at the next stall. So I want to be getting through speedily, and the best way to do that is have the right change if possible. So do it beforehand. I got a great little tip from Kev the Reseller. Check him out on Instagram and YouTube, and that was for getting change. If you've got a local bowling alley with an arcade, you go in there and they've got the change machines. I used to go and once a week I'd have to go and stand in the bank queuing up to go and withdraw change. Now I can just pop round the corner, there's a bowling alley near, not too far from me, pop in there with a 10 or a £20 note, bang, I've got a load of pound coins. So that is a great little tip from Kev the Reseller. So other things, for your accounts etc, you really, sorry, that's my Ring doorbell going. Doorbell answered, I am back. I was going on about for your accounts and stuff like that. So to make life easier for myself, every new tax year I get myself a new A4 notebook, and I keep it as effectively like a ledger of every spend that I make. Now I know in the reality it's often better to have it in an Excel spreadsheet, but sometimes when I just get in, I just want to jot down what's in my mind immediately. I can write down all of the buys at the car boot sale, and then later on I can then update that into the spreadsheets for my taxes. So I have that, and that just makes it a lot easier that by having it all in one year in one place, it's a lot easier for me to keep a track of everything. Another thing I do with that is, so for example, before I go out to the car boot sale, I have my money counted the night before. I know exactly how much I've got, whether it's £100, £200, £300, whatever it is. I know exactly how much to the penny that I've taken out. So when I return, I can then spread all my cash out, count it out again, and then deduct it and work out what my spend is. And then hopefully once I've looked through my recollection of my spend for each and every item, it should tally up, but it just makes it a little bit easier to do that. So yeah, a good notebook for your annual year's expenditure is very, very useful. Obviously, once you've got each month up to date or whatever it is, weighing it into your spreadsheet. So that is something I do there. I mentioned anti-bac. Where is it? I've got like a little foaming anti-bac that I take with me. So basically I squirt it out and it comes out like an antibacterial foam. Touching stuff at car boot sales, it is absolutely filthy. Doesn't matter whether you think you've touched anything dirty. If you get home, go wash your hands rather than over your steel kitchen sink. Go and do it over like your white bathroom sink and see the colour of your fingers. It is filthy. So before going back to my car, I give myself a good anti-bac, because what I don't want to do is then you touch your steering wheel and you've got whatever dirt and filth all over your steering wheel, which you'll transfer elsewhere. So I'm not like a clean freak. I'm just I don't really want other people's filth all over the place. So anti-bac is a good idea to have with you. What else? Obviously, properly wash your hands when you get home before you do anything else. When you're out and about, you will be touching your phone at the car boot sale. So when I get home, I go and get a isopropyl alcohol in a spray bottle, or you can get anti-bac spray, your normal multi-surface cleaner, spray it onto a kitchen towel and give my phone a good bloody wipe down to make sure I've got every bit of filth off it, because then again it would just transfer onto everything. As I said, I'm not like a clean freak, I just don't want other people's dirt and filth. I guess it's part of it comes back to the whole COVID thing, back from a couple of years ago now, I guess, that it kind of got into my mind that how easy it is for stuff to transfer. So just, be sensible about it. You don't have to be like don't freak out about, going there wearing gloves. If you could go and wear latex gloves to a car boot if you want to, but you don't need to. But again, that's another thing that I do, is I don't like to buy food at a car boot sale. 2 reasons. A, I've likely got filthy hands. B, it's costing you money. Get home, have something at home, because every item of unnecessary spend at the car boot sale is money that you haven't made profit. It's just another cost that isn't relevant. So I try not to buy any drinks, I try not to buy any food. So in my backpack I'll also have like a little cereal bar, so if I do need to eat it I can hold the packet without getting filthy hands on it, and I'll have a drink bottle as well. So I don't have to go out and buy a drink because I'm thirsty at the car boot. So those are a couple of little tips there. When I go to a car boot sale, my tactics are the ones that I go to are fairly big, and you want to get there early. So if you want to get there early, if you know that you need to be there at 5:30, you work out a reverse timeline. I need to be there at 5:30. I know it takes me 15 minutes to drive there, so I need to leave the house at 5:15. If I need to leave the house at 5:15 and it takes me half an hour to get ready, then you know what time you need to get up. If your bag and everything else is packed the night before, it's literally get up, brush teeth, have a quick wash, whatever, get in, get a coffee, grab your bag and get out of there. So depending on how long it takes you, you know what time you need to get up. Being prepared and being there on time means that the old saying of the early bird gets the worm, it's very, very true. If you're rocking up at 8 o'clock and other people have been there since 5:30, everything's been picked through. I'm not saying you need to be there at the very start, but it helps. It does make a difference. When I get to the car boot, there are a lot of stalls open at R1, and it depends. Car boots work in different ways. Sometimes I remember seeing one of Car Boot Chris where like some sort of horn or a klaxon goes off and you just see all the buyers coming in all at once. At my one, just everyone, the sellers rock up as and when, and the buyers do. So I rock up at early, not saying what early because it varies depending on my mood. I'll get there early-ish, and my first look around the car boot sale is for low-hanging fruit. I want to get things that are valuable and quickly. I don't have the time to go through every single item of clothing on a rack. I don't have time to rummage through the boxes. I want to go through as many stalls as I can in that first sort of half hour, and maximize my easy wins. So higher margin items, basically, that are simple to ship, like non-breakables. So I'm looking for basically quality shoes and trainers, quality coats, anything that's sort of a simple thing that's easy to see on the shelves and on the tables and on the floor. I'm not going to be digging through each little box, so I do a quick round of, I'll look around, and it is a very quick sense check. I'm sure I do miss good stuff when I'm there, but I'll look at each store and I'll go along methodically, looking at each store, high, low, all around it, go through, and then once I've done a round of all the stores, then I'll go back round for a more in-depth one. Yes, some of the stuff that has probably gone by then that I've missed on the first round, but because I've got a load of good easy pickings at the start, it means that it doesn't really matter, it balances out. The other way is that you go through thoroughly, and you go through every stall very methodically and thoroughly. But by doing that, you're going to cover fewer stalls. Yes, you will get some absolute bangers in there, but it depends on your thought process. My thought process is get the easy pickings first and then go through in more depth. Some people don't go on a second look. Because I'm going through on the second look, I'm picking up stuff that the people who couldn't be bothered to go on a second look, they've missed. But there is also the chance that the good stuff has already gone. So there are different ways to do it. There is no right way, there is no wrong way. The particular way I do it is low hanging fruit first. Quick look round first, get through all the stalls, and then a second more thorough look. And that has worked for me. Haggling. If you have not gone to car boot sales before, it can be quite an alien thing. Someone asks you, you say, how much is that? And they say a tenner. You go, okay. There's that balance. People expect a bit of a haggle, so they are expecting you to knock down the price a bit. But don't be silly with it. Have a little, by all means, have a little bit of back and forth. Do it in a polite way. No one likes to do a deal with someone who's being a dick. Don't be a dick about it. Be polite, be friendly, have a little bit of a laugh. If it's more than you're willing to pay, even if that person said, well, this is worth X amount more, it's a really good deal, you can say, I know it is, unfortunately that's more than I can budget for. I can only afford this. I appreciate if you can't go down to that. Be prepared to walk away. But also don't cut your nose off to spite your face. Just because you think, oh, this should be £5 and he's asking for 10 and he won't go below 7. If I'm not paying any more than 5, if you're going to make £50 on it, pay the extra couple of quid. Use your brain, be sensible about it, be thoughtful in your process. So yes, haggle, because every couple of pounds that you knock off is another couple of pounds that you've got. Now, it's not extra profit, that's extra money you can put into things to make more profit. That extra 2 quid, you could buy something which makes you 40 quid. So it's good to have, to be able to knock a price down. Just don't be a dick about it. But also, I'll probably get some heat for this, where people will say, well, you're haggling something down from £10 to 7 when you know you're going to sell it for 80 quid. Pay the £10. If they're willing to, they're in a field at 7 in the morning, they have a limited amount of people who are going to buy that. If they're happy to sell it for 7, I'm not forcing them. That's their choice. Should they want to sell it to me for 7 quid or 5 quid, that's their choice. So if they don't want to sell it for that price, it might be I'll go, you know what, it is worth a tenner, I'll pay the tenner. Or I'll just think, you know what, that is above my budget, thanks very much, and I'll move on. Sometimes I'll come back later and I said, are you still interested in that? And they knock it back down again. It depends. With those weights, the guy wanted to sell the 40 kilo dumbbells. He wanted to sell it with another set of dumbbells and a bench. I'm sitting there thinking, who's going to buy 2 sets of dumbbells and a bench? I thought, well, if I make an offer on the dumbbells, he's still got a bench and dumbbells that he can sell separately. And who wants to take home? He had these were 40 kilos. He had another 20 something kilos of weights. Who's going to go out and buy 60 kilos worth of weights at a car boot sale and carry them back? It's ludicrous. So he obviously didn't want to take them back. So that's why I managed to get a deal. Works for me, works for him. I guess that's another thing as well. Bigger, bulky items, people don't want to take it back, so you can sometimes make a cheeky offer on it and it will be accepted. So also with regards to haggling, sometimes you get there and you say, how much did you want for whatever it is, and they say, what are you offering? I never go in with any offer immediately, because it could be way over what they're expecting. I just say, well, it's not my item, it's your item. Tell me what you want. I can't play a guessing game. Tell me what you want for it, and I'll tell you if that's something I'm willing to pay, and go from there. If it comes out at a ludicrous, again, a price way higher than I'm considering, I can go back and just say, well, okay, that's a little bit more than I was thinking. To be honest, I was thinking more about the £5 mark. So we're obviously quite different on that. Sorry, I don't want to waste your time. And then sometimes they'll go, tell you what, I could do it for £7. And you've got that little bit of a haggle. Do it in a polite way. I always let them tell me what you want for it. It's your item. Oh, I don't really know. So, and then I say, well, I don't want to insult you with £1. Well, but if you're not going to give me a price, I'll offer you £1 for it. And if they look insulted, say, well, I did ask you to give me a price. I don't want to be rude. I'm not looking to insult you, which is why I didn't want to make an offer. What would you like for it? Okay, we're miles apart on that price. Thanks very much. Good luck with that. I'm not going to insult you, because I thought for me, £5 is my budget. Just be nice about it. Don't be a dick, because these people, you'll often find that you'll see regular sellers there. You don't want to insult someone that you might be dealing with in a couple of weeks' time. Be polite about it, but don't be afraid to haggle. Do it in a nice way. With regards to haggling, it helps for you to know what the item is worth, and that's where the research comes into it. So, as I mentioned earlier, I used to do the Become a Better Reseller series, and that is literally, I see something, oh, wait a minute. So golf clubs was an example of looking up the sold golf clubs and then thinking, right, then getting more in depth with it. Right, okay, I'm going to research these particular brands. So once I've got a list of the ones that sell for £30 upwards, I'm going to then specifically look at all the Mizuno golf clubs, all of the Maxfire golf clubs, all of the Callaway ones, and go through and then get a deeper breadth of knowledge. So when I get to a car boot sale, I can look at a club and think, oh, that's a so-and-so series Callaway, that will go for about 30 quid, or it's a different series one, that'll go for about 70 quid. So I know I can justify spending a bit more without having to get my phone out and do the research right there and then. I don't want to do it right in front of the person, because they're going to get the arse with, what's he looking it up? Or you've got the chance that someone else could go in and buy it when it was a bargain. With regards to research, at the car boot, yes, I do use my phone. I look at sold prices, always put it for buy it now, because the auction prices can be all over the places. So whatever the item is, sold prices, buy it now. You can click on there for locked as well, so it only comes up with you, lock it onto sold prices, so that whenever you go into eBay, you can check sold prices only. That gives you a much better idea than the asking prices, which can often be ludicrous. So that is useful. Sometimes I just wander off and do it discreetly and check it. Sometimes I'll just say, I've just got to check my wife, her shoe size or whatever it is. And I'm clearly going on eBay. They don't know that. So that was it, research-wise. The other bit I was going to say about research is that I'm a part of a couple of Facebook groups on reselling, and I'll often see people posting up photos of trainers saying, are these fake or are these real? There are some very, very good fake trainers out there, and there are some terrible ones, and not just trainers, all sorts of clothing and whatever. One of the ways to be more prepared is to be more familiar with the items you're buying. So if you're thinking, right, okay, I know that I can sell Nike trainers, go into a sports shop and go and look at the Air Force Ones or whatever trainers it is that you're thinking that you might see at a car boot sale. Feel the weight of them, get an idea of what the weight of that particular trainer's like. Look at the label. How is that label attached on the inside? Is it one that is sewn in? Is it one that is a bonded in one? What is the material like on the inside of the trainer? How does it look? Does it feel? Look at the stitching. Just give yourself a little bit of an idea of what a real one looks like. And then sometimes at a car boot sale, you'll see these moody gits who are selling loads of fake trainers, and you can say, well, all of these Nike trainers, they're all brand new. They're clearly fake because of the prices. Go and research those. Go and actually have a look at the fake trainers, knowing they're fake. You'll often find that the weight of the trainer feels different. Often it's a little bit lighter. You can then look at the stitching. Sometimes they can be incredibly good. But when you then look inside, you might think, oh, this material, it feels cheaper, or it doesn't feel as good. Sometimes it might be pulling up the insole to look underneath. Get an idea of what a real one looks like and feels like, and the same for a fake one. And it's not going to mean that every time you're going to get it right, but it puts you in a better position, a better chance of making a good decision. If you have not familiarized yourself with how they look and how they feel, you've got a much more chance of buying something that's fake. If you've been to I don't know, JD Sports or wherever, and you've gone and had a look at and familiarized yourself with certain types of trainers, and then you see, right, there's definitely a load of fake ones at this particular store, have a look, feel what the fake ones are, you're in a much better position, because when a shoe is second hand, it's harder to see if it's fake because there's going to be wear to it. So have a look and feel it and figure it out from that. It won't be foolproof, but you'll put yourself in a better position, and you'll have a higher chance of making a good decision by being prepared. I think that will probably do it for now. Oh, going with before doing it for now, going with a mindset of not buying everything that makes a profit. Work out sort of minimum thresholds per item. If something's quick and easy to list, and you know it will turn over quickly, you can afford to take a lesser profit on it because you know it's done, out the door quickly. If something takes long to list, or you know it's going to be longer packed because it's breakable, and so I know that a pair of shoes or a t-shirt, whatever, I can pack those up very, very quickly. Whereas if I've got a vase or a something damageable, breakable, I have to be much, much more careful, and it might take me 4 times as long, 5 times as longer to pack it up. So I take that into account when I'm buying something. Is it breakable? I need to make more profit on that than something that's not breakable because of my extra time and effort put into it. Might be interesting. I might enjoy buying the breakable stuff. So if you enjoy buying the breakable stuff, then sometimes it's like, you know what, that's fine. I don't mind spending a bit more time on it, but just have a little bit of a think about. Make a conscious decision when you're buying stuff. Again, work out minimum profits. A lot of people still think, oh, eBay fees are 10%. No, they're not. They're like 12, 13% plus VAT, which basically means your eBay fee is 15%. So if you're selling something for 10 quid, you're looking at £1.50 of that has gone immediately. Then if you've got promotional fees, so I looked at my last, it's now 200 items, is averaged at, including, so the eBay fee, including promotional sales costs, is working out at 18% of my cost. So of the sale price. So if I've sold something for £10, £1.80 of that has gone on fees. So that doesn't leave me a huge amount of money. Then if I've then spent £2 on the item, that's not a huge amount of profit. Is it worth my time? Probably not. So I set my thresholds as, I normally would set it around the £20 mark, unless it's a real quick, easy seller where I'll take a little bit more of a little bit less profit because I'm no bang for it and get it out the door. But at the minute, because I've got so much of a backlog, why am I buying stuff that I can sell for £20 profit when I've got stuff that I can make 20, 30, £40 profit on in boxes unlisted? So that's why, although this golf club, I can make a profit on it, £3, I'll sell that for 25. The issue is, I've got a load of golf clubs completely unlisted, probably didn't need to buy that. So, you know, having £3 unlisted on my shelf for a little while, it's not the end of the world, but I need to be a bit more critical about my decisions still. So it's a constantly evolving game. I'm constantly learning, I'm constantly improving my thought process and my sales process and everything else. So I just thought that was just useful to give you a bit of an idea about what goes through my mind with regards to my preparations for a car boot, with going in to buy. I go in with a plan, I go in with minimum targets on profit. The bulkier and bigger the item is, the more shelf space it takes up here. T-shirts, sweaters, whatever, I can get hundreds and hundreds of pounds worth in a box, where if I've got bloody great big toaster, I pay 25 quid for that, I'll probably get 125 quid for it. But it takes up a big bit of space, and we'll get it home and one of the slots isn't toasting well, isn't toasting at full wax, so I need to replace one of the elements. So this, for example, this is a dualit. These, I think new, they're somewhere around the £150 mark, 150, £180 mark. Why I quite like those is to the fact that they're such a high quality brand, that they're well recognised and easy to sell, but also because of that, and the design hasn't changed in 50, 60 years, parts are replaceable. So I know one of the elements has gone. If you've got a £30 cheapo toaster from Sainsbury's or Argos or whatever, they're throwaway. You can't repair them. These, when things go wrong, you can replace items, which means I knew I could buy that. I think it's going to cost me 12 quid for the element, and then I'll be able to sell that for over £100. So yes, I've invested a little bit more into it, but I know that I've got an item that I can make a big profit on in one go. So yeah, I waffled a bit, sorry about that. This has gone on way longer than I expected, but I was due to give you guys a video for ages, so apologies for the delay. I'm still fitting them in as and when. I'm so ridiculously busy at the minute. It's still finishing this place, but it's yeah, I'm busy, but it's fun. So hopefully that's been useful to you. So a couple of things, if you wouldn't mind, click the like button, it helps me. If you haven't subscribed, please do. I try to be educational. If I haven't got anything to say, I won't say anything. If I've got something to say that could be educational and useful, I will come on to YouTube. So I'm not massively regular on here, but I will try and split my brain out that will be useful for people. So yeah, put the bell icon as well, because I don't send that many of these videos. So yeah, it would be helpful, and then you know when you get notified when I've got a new video out. Go and have a look on Instagram for a couple of people. So Kev the Reseller, Sarah Resells, and Emma Chatterton, who is She Sells Seashells. I'll put their details in the links. So yeah, that would be great. Any questions, give me a shout. Tell you what, in the comments, if you're still here, which will be a miracle, can you put in your tip for a tip for car booting, what you do that I haven't mentioned already, that would be a useful tip to anyone else, and then hopefully we can get a little bit of a dialogue in the comment section, which will help other resellers with little tips. So anyway, thanks very much. I shall see you next time. Latest potatoes.
You know just what to do. Like and subscribe and review. You know just what to do. Like and subscribe and review. You know just what to do. Like and subscribe and review. You know just what to do. Like and subscribe and